There we go. There's my microphone. Alrighty. Alright guys, what's up everybody? Hope you're having a lovely, lovely Monday. I want to make sure this stream is actually working right now before I get too far into my spiel. I think we are. I think we're good to go. I think we're live. All right, cool. Well, hey guys, what's up? This is Stephen Malin, music composer for The Screen, helping you to build a music business that supports your family. I'm excited today because this is Monster Sanctuary week. It's gonna be a lot of fun. And so what we're doing here today, just to kind of kick things off, I wanted to jump into the game itself. I've talked a lot about Monster Sanctuary over the last several months. I've been working on that with Peter Jones, another composer. And today I just want to kick things off to actually find some of the music in game. Of particular note, I wanted to find the new update to the game called Magma Chamber, and that's where a lot of the new tracks are going to be working on here today in just a few minutes. So I just want to jump into the game, have a little bit of fun as we dive into that, and then afterwards, maybe about 15 minutes or so, we're also going to be writing some tracks and delivering some stuff to the team. I'm going to show you how to do that and how to actually write for a video game. So I hope you can enjoy being a part of this process today and tomorrow. And we're just going to relax and enjoy. So let's jump into the game for a few minutes. All right, so right now we're hanging out in the, this is called Horizon Beach. Just take a look at my map here. You can see how I'm all the way on the right side of the map. And my goal is to somehow make it back to the new region, which I believe is on the bottom of the screen. It's an area we haven't gone to yet. So I kind of cheated a little bit. I looked it up online so we don't waste a lot of time today. And if you were to travel all the way to the Sun Palace, I gotta be careful not to talk over this music, it's so loud. But yeah, if you were to go all the way to the Sun Palace, which is over there on the left side of the screen, I've been playing this game for like 20 hours and there's a lot of content. But if you were to go over there to the Sun Palace area, which is all the this yellow region, there's an NPC there that tells you about the magma caverns, the magma chamber, and how it is to the east of the Stronghold Dungeon and to the south of the Ancient Woods. So I think it's somewhere in that missing region right around here. So let's go find it. So I'm over here in the Horizon Beach. I want to get to that little teleportation area there. It's a save point. So let's do it. I'm going to try to avoid all these battles if I can. Oh man. I tell you what, it's always really interesting and humbling to hear my own music in games. It never feels quite real. It's like, wait a second, I wrote that. Especially when you get a tune stuck in your head. That's weird. And then you realize it's your own tune. But hey, as we're jumping in here today, let me know who's in the chat. Love to say hey. All right, cool. So here's my little teleportation thing. So it's supposed to be below the woods. Okay, cool. So here's the Ancient Woods. So I gotta look. I bet you it's right here because that's the only thing that looks like it goes down. So let's actually go over here. We're gonna try to go down. It's kind of the edge of the beach. And for those who have not played this game, it's kind of like a mixture of Terraria and Pokemon. So you collect monsters and they battle each other. And I didn't write all the tracks for this game because when I was brought onto the team, they already had like 10 tracks for the OST. But with all these updates, they wanted to hire another composer. And so that's where I have come in. And then from there, I've been bringing on board composer Peter Jones to help me out with filling in the rest of the soundtrack now that it's growing quite large. So this is some of the older material. I didn't write this track. Oh no! Dang it. Looks like I can't go that way. Let's see what I can do. But yeah, this is a Metroidvania. Let's see. Anytime you have one of your little monster dudes, you can equip them to use their power. So one of my guys has... there we go. Dark Room Vision. So now I can actually see what I'm doing. Aw, man. Dead end. Okay, I need another way in. What do you guys think? Maybe it's down there? That little entrance to the right? That's probably another good guess. Let's go. Let's go. Alright, so I like to use my, this dude. You get to name your monsters. His name is Ragnarok. Like the sword. And you'll notice how he's all greenish, glowy. So, you know, in the Pokemon games, you can evolve your Pokemon into different types. In this, they don't quite have evolutions, but they have, there's some stones you can collect throughout the game that allow you to upgrade your dudes into like a light or a dark version. So this is the light version, so you kind of get some extra powers. But he is a flame monster. Okay, we're gonna get there, guys. And to be honest, this is also just a fun excuse to play the game. I haven't picked it up in weeks, and there's a lot of updates that I haven't seen yet. So this is pretty fun. All right, we're making our way. This is actually strangely my favorite part about playing Metroidvanias, is finding all the paths to unlock stuff. And you'll notice that I have the sound effects turned down quite a bit. They're not bad, I get annoyed by sound effects in games a lot. I'm one of those weirdos who actually likes to hear music. You know. Oh my gosh, it's one of these. Oh. Have any of you played Hollow Knight? This is giving me flashbacks to all of that awfulness. That awful White Castle. Anybody? It's just the worst. It's like this for hours. It's like really, jeez, really painful. Oh, there we go. Yeah. Oh, cool. Found it. Boom. All right, let's listen to the music. I've never heard it in context. Nice. Oh, no. Yikes, here we go. Ah! I don't know how to get past this. Oh no, I wonder if you have to have... Oh. Finally found it, I can't even get inside. Maybe I can. At least you can enjoy the music. Oh, man. No! Man, this is awful. Come on! Oh, okay, I give in. Bummer. So this is a good sign of a good Metroidvania where maybe if you're a crazy skilled player, you can find a way to actually get past this by running. But the last update, they shared that in the ice region and in the Horizon Beach, they have mountable monsters, and so you have to capture them in battle, and that way you could ride them and run across this without dying. Darn. So now I kind of really want to go find one. Can we take a few more minutes for that? Will you guys hate me? Let's see. Oh no, I would have to go all the way back. Oh well. Well, let's just enjoy the music for a second while I talk. So there we are. We made it. We found Magma Chamber, but I can't even get past it. Yikes. Oh well. So this is. Here's just like just a little word to anyone who wants to be a video game composer. You have to love playing games. I recently got the question from a composer who wants to get into writing for video games. I guess for the money, I guess for the experience of it. But they really asked the question: do you have to love games? Do you have to play games to actually do this? And the truth is, yes, you do. I think that's really important. Because here I am, I'm just having fun right now playing the game, but there's something about putting yourself inside the game and with all the sound effects and just learning and understanding what's actually happening in the game that I feel like if you don't love it, then you're gonna burn out really fast. Because there's so many times that game developers will ask, like, do you have any suggestions, or what do you think about this level? And sometimes you get to play demos before you write music, and you can really feel it out that way. So yeah, I just think that's going to be a pretty essential thing if you do want to write for games, that you do that. But yeah, maybe between now and the next stream, I will go find a mountable monster that we can ride into the Magma Chamber properly. I actually have not seen any gameplay of this yet. It just released a couple of days ago, so yeah. And you can kind of hear, if we crank it up a little bit, you can hear some of the bassy goodness from my assistant composer, Peter Jones. I always ask him to add some cool bass lines to what I write, and he does a phenomenal job. So that's one of the fun parts of collaborating and working with other people. But anyway, let me close out of this for now. Boom. Maybe we'll come back to that in a little while. Let me crank my volume back up so you can hear stuff. And I want to pop over to my Cubase session, which is what I've been working with on this game. So here's where we're at right now with the game. So I just got a note back from the developer, and it's always a back and forth exchange with the team, just always figuring out, what's the next step, because we're working on a lot of tracks simultaneously. So we're doing revisions on some tracks, and other times talking about new ones and new areas and all this kind of stuff. So it's an ongoing, truly a collaboration. It's been a lot of fun. So what we're going to be looking at here today are two things. The first one is I recently sent in this little bit of music originally as a revision track for a different area of the game. But what was really funny, kind of case in point to my video from last week, if you saw my video about revisions and rejections from the team members, this is kind of a case in point example of I wrote more than one piece of music for the area. So the area I'm talking about is the Mystic Workshop, which is where you buy, sell, trade gear with NPCs to level up your weapons and stuff. And so the idea is to write a piece of music for that. And so I wrote one piece of music, and they kind of liked it. And so I wrote a second piece of music just as something to compare it to. And what was really cool about that is they said absolutely not to number 2. They're like, this is worse. However, we really like this for something else. And what's really cool about this situation is the Monster Sanctuary team is constantly updating the game. This is very much a Shovel Knight story where the developers made promises, stretch goals to the Kickstarter backers. And what's so cool about that, as being a composer, jumping on the DLC, it's not even DLC, it's all just free updates for people who bought the game. What's so cool about that is like they're ever expanding this world. And so if they just want to add another room to the game, they just do. And then I get to be paid extra to work on more music. And so in this example, I thought this was so cool. This is a great learning opportunity for composers. What was so cool is I gave them this demo, what I was considering to be the revision number 2 of the Mystic Workshop. And then they said, you know what, this is terrible for the Mystic Workshop, doesn't fit at all. However, here's this new room that we just built called the Goblin Trader Room, which is kind of a secret NPC. And apparently he's hidden within the magma chamber, which we were trying to find just a second ago. I'll find it tomorrow. But anyway, they liked it so much, they're like, hey, I'll pay extra just to make a loop out of what you've already written. We love it. So that's what I'm going to do right now. Here we are inside Cubase, and here is the section. Let's just listen to it for a second, and then we're going to live composing here today. We're going to work on turning it into a loop and kind of the formatting to how to give it to a team. Very, very valuable for a lot of you. So let's listen. Oops, let me turn my volume to where I can hear stiffs. Here we go. Cool. Yeah, that's how it goes. So that's a fun little tune that, funny story, I was just running some errands that morning. This was last week. I was running some errands and this little tune got stuck in my head. And Peter's in the chat with us right now, so he can attest to this. I literally opened up a voice memo and just started singing this. My daughter thought I was crazy, but by now, she should know that by now that her dad's pretty crazy. This is what composers do, right? I literally took a voice memo while I was driving and I literally sang this entire tune. And then because I think as a composer, anyone else that writes music can attest to this, that I heard all the chords in my head. I knew exactly what to do. I knew that it was a minor 1 to a 3/1 to a 4 chord to a 1 chord to a 5 chord to a 1 to a 4 to a 1 to a 5. So like that's just what I heard. And so as soon as I was done with my errands, I came home and had that voice memo. That way, even though it was hours later, I was able to just put it in. And it never really surprises me, other than it's just interesting that, wow, this was in my head and here it is. And I love that even though it was not for the intended purpose, the team still likes it and wants to use it. So I'm really pumped about that. So really, here's a lesson. If the team likes what you wrote, don't change it. Even though I might have some other ideas, just don't even, just leave it alone. I think it's solid. So here's what I do to actually create a loop out of this. First and foremost, I like to always leave space on the beginning and the end of my track. So the track actually ends right about here. but I want to leave just a little bit more space with my little looper bar. And that way, once I export this, I can throw it into Audacity and turn it into the audio files I need. So harmonically, this thing already loops because I ended. Hear that? And actually, now that I think about it, I can get rid of all of this extra material, which I was intending to write a B section and kind of turn it into a full-fledged track, but they like the little loop because it's just a little MPC. It's a short area of the game where you're not going to spend a lot of time. Let me make sure I didn't just delete 500 things. I probably did. Nope, I didn't. Cool. Sometimes I do that. I just accidentally delete the entire world and all my tracks are gone. And yeah, that's a bad day. That's also why I keep a million versions. I keep every version of my session on my hard drive, on Google Drive, and on Peter's computer, I assume, because we're working together on this. Anyway, so this B. You kind of hear how there's a delay in the piano, so I want to make sure that it all gets caught in a loop. Just leave it alone from there. Okie doke. And now we're going to take this entire chunk, going to export. This is now called Goblin Trader Room. And we're going to make sure just the stereo out is selected. And it's going to be a WAV file, 48K, 24-bit. That's how I write everything. It's going to be exported to my desktop. And then once that loads, it only takes like 5 seconds. It's done. And the reason why this only takes about 5 seconds to load is because of custom context samples that me and Peter are using back and forth. And we have gone back and forth actually creating these from scratch. So that has been a really cool, fun time doing that. So I'm going to open up a section of on me. Why are you doing that? There it is. Probably because I have Steam open. That's fine. Cool. So over here in my left screen, I have Audacity open. You should be able to hear this. Yeah, cool. So here's how I make loops. I have an entire video dedicated to this, but a little reminder won't hurt anybody. So what I like to do, I like to go to the very tiniest little section where you can actually see the WAV file, zoom out so I can very quickly select all of the dead space, get rid of it, and then go to the edge. I don't want to delete all of it, but what I want to do is copy and paste the new track. I put it below here, and I'm going to try to create a custom loop point. Let's find it. Too soon. So what's cool about Audacity is you can use dead space and copy and paste it like this. Very much, it's unlike any other DAW in that case. So let's find it. You kind of hear how the kick is too late, so we're going to find it. Still a tiny bit too late. Okay, so now it's too early. So now we have to go to the most microscopic level and find where it is. Almost. Okay, cool. I'm happy with that. So here's what we got to do now. I'm going to take this remaining chunk, which is this right here. And this now becomes the new track. So I'm going to cut it, delete the old, go to the beginning, and put it right there at the beginning. So now here's what the beginning sounds like. You're gonna hear a tiny bit of the little delay of the piano if you just solo it. Right? That's the reverb tail, but it's almost completely inaudible. And it's okay. Okay, so the way that this works is if I were to copy and paste, because this is considered like one complete track, right? If I were to copy and paste this to the edge of both tracks, here's what the loop sounds like. And It's a flawless loop, right? So what I can do is I can mute this reverb tail. I can export just that chunk. So let's export. My shortcut for that is Control-Shift-E on Audacity. Now it's going to be called Goblin Trader Room First Time. Let's export that as an other uncompressed file. I want to keep it as a WAV 24-bit. Okay, so let's save that. This one is, sorry, Peter, you're not on this one. Love you, man. Track title, Goblin Trader Room. There we go. We're kind of dividing up this soundtrack anyway. So there we go. So it's just that chunk. So that is the first time. And now what I can do is I can include everything. Hit Control E, which exports all the tracks simultaneously. This would be Goblin Trader Room second time. Okay. So now what I've done is I've created 2 WAV files, and each of those WAV files should be able to be stacked on top of each other. So before I get ahead of myself, I want to also export those as OGG files. I'm going to keep the project rate at 48K. Do the exact same process for each, but I'm going to call it an OGG Vorbis file. And this way, those are the files the team likes to use. It's a compressed, well, it's an uncompressed audio file, but it's way smaller than a WAV. Very good for video game engines. And so we'll do the same thing where we export everything together, and this will be called the second time. And notice I'm keeping the quality at the highest level here, that way there's no degradation of sound. But even if I were to check out these 2 files, I want to look it up real quick. So this is the properties of the WAV file. Oops, wrong one. So this is the first time file of the WAV. Check this out. It's 9.41 megabytes for the WAV. And the OGG is 1.84 megabytes. That's almost 1/10 of the size, at least 90%. Not 90%, it's like 20% of the size. Jeez, what a space saver, right? Saves a lot of space, especially when we're talking with a lot of tracks over time. And the final step here is to create a loop. So what I like to do is just to test everything. Let's make a blank Audacity session. Let's take those 2 files. Here's the first time file, and here's the second time file. I'm going to take the second one. I'm going to copy and paste it directly after and directly after. And the reason I made a first time file is because I don't want any of that reverb tail to be at the beginning. So here's what it sounds like without the reverb tail. And here's what it sounds like with it. And there it is. So this loop is really just for listening purposes, for soundtrack purposes. So I'm going to go to the final loop. So 1, 2, 3. I'm going to go to the 15-second mark after it starts. So that is 23, looks like, right before 23. So right there, that's a 15-second mark. I'm going to take this final chunk, going to fade out twice to nothing. Go to the very end, add 2 seconds of silence. At the very beginning of the track, add 0.15 seconds, which is 15 milliseconds. And then you put it all together, and it sounds like this. Then you can listen to the end to make sure it fades out properly. And there it is. This will be 2 seconds of silence. 1, 2, and then boom, the next track of the soundtrack would load from there. So in order to export this, I never export MP3s at 48. I always go to 44.1 and then go to MP3. I like to keep it at 320 kilobytes per second. It just gives us the highest possible quality while also saving on the space. And so to compare with the OGG and the WAV file, that MP3, let's see if it's exported. There it is. The properties on that is 3.23 megabytes. So how about that? The OGGs are actually smaller than MP3s at the highest level. How about that? Cool. So I'm going to close out Audacity. And now I have my Goblin Trader room. Yippee skippy. And so from there, I just upload those files to the shared drive folders for the Monster Sanctuary team and for me and Peter, since we're staying in communication the whole time with the project. And then from here, let's go back to our Cubase session. And my next task for today is to edit the original Mystic Workshop. So the notes from the development team were that, let me find my button here. Notes from the development team were that they really liked the first 48 seconds of it. You notice how I have everything organized here in one giant session. These are all the new tracks. These are all the ones that I've collaborated with Peter on. I do have an old session with all the ones I did solo. But now that we've created our own contact instruments and everything, I want to keep everything in one session. So it's really not that much music yet, but this will grow in time for sure. It's a large soundtrack. So I want to go to, I guess, gosh, I have to find it. Is it this music? Let's find out. Nope. So Keeper's Tower we've done. We finished the Alchemist Battle. What is this thing? I think this is Peter's, one of his sketches. Oh no, that's it. That's it. Cool. So yeah, isn't that crazy? Yeah, so this tune has been through 3 changes already, or 3 name changes. So this is actually going to be called the Mystic Workshop. Now that we've settled that that is where we want to go. You'll notice how I'm really big on labeling. So even right here, we have a time signature change. So the way to kind of organize this while writing is to take my looper bar at the top. You can do this in any of your DAWs. I like to use Cubase for any kind of soundtrack, long form music like this. Stop playing. So I'm going to click and drag it. There we go. So what I want to do is find the 2-minute loop point, because this is meant to be a 2-minute track. So it starts right there on 366. I want to keep that where it is. I always like to have a bar free. And so it says down here at the bottom, which you can't see. Let's fix that. It says 9:41. So we've written 9 minutes of music so far in this session. So 9:41. So I want the final to say, I cannot tell you why it's playing. That's weird. Let me push. Are we done? Notice you can't see my hands. You can now, but I'm literally like not even pushing any buttons on my keyboard. It's playing stuff. I think the ghost of Peter is here. He's haunting me from his drive. Gee willikers. But yeah, down here it says 9:41, so it needs to say 11:41 at the end of this track. So let's put a couple markers in now that we know what we want. First marker, I'm just going to call it A. But for real, why is it playing? I don't know. Let's call this B. Yeah, this track is a mess and a half, but that's why we're here today, to clean it up. So they did not like, I bet you it's because Steam is open and like my whole machine is just warring with it. There, it's closed. Okay, cool. They did not like this spooky section of the C section. So unfortunately, all this has to go. And that's okay. Sometimes you just gotta do what the developer wants. At the end of the day, I agree that for the purpose of the workshop, for real, what is playing right now? I couldn't even tell you what's going on. I do know what I need to do though. I'm gonna put it on my shiny face. I'm gonna close out Cubase because Cubase is an animal that must be tamed. It's an amazing stallion, but what I've learned in a few months of using Cubase is that it's an animal. If anything weird starts happening in Cubase, just shut it down and reopen and everything will work. I don't know how to explain little bugs like that, but it was literally playing without me touching my keyboard, which I'm not a fan of. Not a fan. Look, now everything works perfectly. Cool. And another huge bonus to using My buttons are backwards now. Oh, Cubase, why? Why do you hate me? There we go. Okay, back to normal. Another huge benefit to using your own custom context samples for a video game soundtrack, everything loads instantly. There's literally no load time. These sessions are they're 1,200 kilobytes. This session could fit on a floppy disk, guys. That's how small these files are, because the contact files are just hosted on my machine, and so every session is just pulling from those resources. It's very much how Vienna Ensemble Pro works, and you have used that for sampling. But the coolest part is that I'm able to collaborate with other musicians, and there's no load time for them either. It's just a beautiful, beautiful thing. All right, cool. So back to the show. I need to let's get to the right screen here. There we go. I need to find the spot that this 941 becomes 1141. Another funny thing about Cubase is it's a German program. So I don't want to say a lot of the functions are backwards. They're inverse to what we are used to here in America. So one of the things I have as a hotkey on my keyboard here is the scroll lock button. I have it attached to a program. For anyone who uses Cubase, this is an absolute godsend. You must have this on your machine. There is a little mouse, a free app on PC. Oh, what is it called? I wish I could tell you. What is it called? It's like mouse. We're going to find it. X mouse button control. Check this out. This will change your life if you use Cubase only. It's the only one that does this. X mouse button control. Go download it this instant. What you can do is you can create a piece of software. So Cubase Pro, just add a setting, and then over here in the options, I think, enable axis locking modifier keys. And then you can add right here for layer 2, you can do wheel up and wheel down. You can inverse them. That way, what I have set up is that anytime that I push the scroll lock button on or off, it's going to, let's show it right here. Anytime I push the scroll lock button on my machine, it's going to turn on and off, on and off, on and off. That way, if I'm jumping between different DAWs, such as Audacity that I just used, it does not have the inverse. Pro Tools does not have the inverse. Anytime I do that, I can actually basically toggling that mouse app on and off. And that way, notice if I scroll, you have to really pay attention if you want to see this in action, but I'm going to hold shift and scroll with my mouse wheel. Notice how it goes that direction, right? It goes back and forth. If I turn it off, it's going to go the opposite direction. It's very subtle, but it's a freaking life-giving device because Cubase is backwards and I can't handle it. My little brain just can't do it. I need similarities across all my platforms. But anyway, enough about that. Moving on, shall we? I do want to answer a couple questions in the chat. I love when you guys ask good questions. Antelope says, I wish I had saved your old deleted Monster Sanctuary live streams. Haha, they were so good. Yeah, I had an existential crisis back in January where I deleted all of my old videos. I only kept some of them and I've reposted them. It's just a mess. Ugh. But this is a year for rebuilding. It's a year for direction and focus. So thanks for bearing with me in my crazy Enneagram 3-ness. Antelope says, how are you, by the way, Stephen? I hope you're well. Thank you for asking how I am. I'm actually very well today. Baby Atticus is 4 weeks old today, and we're rocking. We're doing well. Again, this is a big year for me and my family as we really dig our heels into the ground, and I'm going to be doing less things this year, but everything I do is going to have significantly more weight and focus, which is a big deal for me because I'm used to doing like quite literally 20 things at once. If you look at my income statements, there's about 15 to 20 things that I do every month, and it's too much. So I'd much rather do 3 things, 2 things, whatever, and make sure that they really count. So that's kind of the direction I'm headed, and it's going to take a little while to get there, and that's why YouTube has been under all this weird stuff, all these weird changes for me, but I'm getting there. Kyle says, can vouch for your comments on Cubase. Yeah, Cubase is just an animal. Sorry. Jeremy says, directly to MP3. Curious, I thought the WAV first and then MP3. I mean, platforms like Bandcamp require uncompressed files so they can create the different formats. So Jeremy, if you were watching my Audacity session there, I took the core WAV file, which was a 48K 24 sample bit track from my Cubase session, and then I exported it into WAV files and then into MP3s. But I'm using the same source material, so it doesn't matter which one I do first. It's all coming from the same source. So I'm not degrading it by any means, because yes, you are right. If you're going to use Bandcamp or SoundDrop or really anyone, everyone needs a 48K 24-bit sample rate for the maximum quality, and then you can obviously compress from there. It's very much like if you're an artist, they always give you a PNG file first. It's a highest quality art file. You can convert it into a JPEG or something smaller, right? And Antelope says, yeah, New Decade does things like that to the best of us. Yes, it does. I'm excited. Lots of cool stuff going on right now. So here we go. Back to the show. So Mystic Workshop. I have not even done what I was going to do. I need to take... Are you kidding me? Cubase. After that whole speech about my mouse, Cubase is not acknowledging my mouse, and I'm going to throw up if it does not. So there's that. Again, I've already restarted the entire program in the time of me saying that, so it's so fast. Okay, let's make sure. Yay, it works again. I'm telling you guys, it's just the worst and the best. Cubase is amazing, but it is so buggy. But I could say the exact same thing. I know I'm on a freaking tangent here today, but I've never used a DAW that's flawless. They don't exist. It's software, guys, and they're always updating it, always fixing bugs, and it doesn't matter if it's Ableton Live, Pro Tools, Digital Performer, Logic, or Cubase. I have found significant flaws in all of them. That's why I really try to focus on which software will get me the quickest result for what I'm trying to do. And for this type of thing, where I'm trying to do a very linear soundtrack, working with another composer, yeah, Cubase is the right answer, despite its stupid flaws. So here we go. Let's play some music, shall we? So I need to... There we go. I need to go all the way here. So I wanted to find... the point. Okay, I need to get rid of all this stuff because it didn't save. We can still call it a C section, but it just, yeah, it needs to be cleaned up quite a bit. Oh, my mouse is not working and I want to scream. Let's actually see what's going on. X mouse. That's so weird. Yeah, see, look, down is up is down. That's how you can actually test to see if it's working. And if I turn off the scroll lock, it should not work at all. There, it says disabled because scroll lock is on. I can turn it off. Boom, things are working. Back to the show. Yay. I guess that's all I had to do is open up the program. Yay, okay. So I need to make sure that my looper bar is set so that 1141 is the new end point. It looks like it's going to be crazy close. Oh my gosh. How close that is. If you can see the bottom there, it's pretty small if you're on a phone, but so I need to end the track right there. So I'm going to set a marker that says 2-minute loop. Now I know exactly where to go to. And a quick little trick is if you don't want to write that much music, choose a slower tempo. So a lot of times I will change the tempo by a few BPM if I'm like a measure off by the end, phrase wise. That's a very quick and easy way to get to the length that you need. Quick little trick there. So this means this is going to be my C section, and then likely because this is quite a lot of music, and we're only at 1 minute by that point, I believe. Yeah, we're at 1 minute. So we're gonna have to do like a D section out about here, and then probably some sort of tail outro thingy that leads us back. So that's the goal here today over this next little bit of time. I want to get this thing grooving. And Antelope says in the chat, Fruity Loops has been the only one without weird bugs that I've tried, but I don't think you can compose to video, or if you can, I don't know how. So I use Cubase for that. I would even recommend, Cubase is actually one of the worst for composing to video. It's super limited. If you really want to do film scoring, I would pick up Digital Performer, because you can actually use one template, one session of all your instruments, and then you can create duplicates of it that don't add any additional resources, but essentially you can take a piece of film and chop it into scenes, and then each scene has its own session, but it's all routed to the original audio sound sources. So it's an incredible way to write an entire film score, like a feature film, in one session, without all the clutter of having to do it linearly, and without, you can time every single scene and adjust them whenever you want to if a director changes the length. So that is by far the weapon of choice for film scoring. But for just about everything else, you can get away with Cubase. Or if it's just a single scene, yeah, you can do that in Cubase. All right, let's get to it. I'm all over the place. So we are in 3/4 time. And it looks like all of my data is off. So I gotta do that real quick. So I'm gonna make sure, I'm gonna select everything from this track, and that can happen sometimes when we mess around with tracks before it. So the easy fix, I really just need to turn my grid off and slide my MIDI until it fits perfectly on the line. And there it is, right there. So now everything should fit to a click. And that is accurate, but I accidentally moved it 1 beat too soon. And Cubase is good about showing you, like right here, you can see it's a complicated number, but it says the bar, and then even says how many, kind of like video editing, it says how many ticks I'm moving it. So right now it says plus 0.0.0.32. So that means I'm moving 32 like fractions of a beat. So you can actually numerically tell if you're exactly on. So that is exactly on the bar. I don't know of other DAWs that do that. And now everything's perfectly lined up and we can move on with our day. And so before I have a cow, I'm going to turn my grid back on and chop that off. That way we start with a clean MIDI data right here at the beginning. Everything's cool. Let's do it. Oops. Come on. Aha, there's the culprit. That annoying. There was some data hiding right there. So that means it's not quantized. So if I go through and quantize that, I should be able to chop it off and I can still visually see it. That's the cool thing about Cubase, is if you can't see the region, then it's not going to play. So that's a pretty convenient way. It's not the best thing in the world, but it's about the only way to work with MIDI visually, because MIDI is its own animal. Like right there, see how the hi-hat disappeared? Because it tells me that note is not quantized on the grid. So now if I chop it off and it's there, it's going to play and there's no issues. Alrighty. Question from Kyle. What makes Cubase not a good choice for longer film scoring? I'm using it for short film now and don't have any issues yet. Wondering what sort of obstacles I expect to encounter later on. Ooh, Kyle. Ooh, be careful. Be careful. Be careful. If you've not worked with film a lot, the number one, I don't want to call it a sin, but the number one thing to look out for with film directors is they change their mind a lot. Especially in the indie scene. I've worked with so many film directors that we're done. Like we're like days away from finishing. Hey, by the way, I added 3 scenes to the film, or I changed it by just a minute. That's going to be okay, right? Or I took off just this one line from the actor. I just wasn't really feeling it. Oh my gosh. And so as a composer, that is just, that's distress and at its finest, because now you have to go back. If you're doing this all in one session, be careful, because now you have, let's say, a short film is, I don't know, 30 minutes, 40 minutes long, right? You now have, 10 cues, 10 pieces of music. So what are you going to do if you have to change 1 second at 41 minutes and 30 seconds, right? As soon as you change that, actually, let's make it more drastic. If you had to do this at minute number 7, what happens to everything after it? You now have to mathematically calculate time signature changes, tempo changes, and you have to force all that data to the right to now make sure that all of that data fits with the film that has now changed. It's a nightmare. I've done it, and I would never do it again, ever, 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 ever. And even though Digital Performer has a higher price tag, you can use the upgrade function, the cross-grade function, and get it for $300. Oh my gosh, best $300 ever. Because within Digital Performer, if you needed to make that same change, you literally go to the one scene that needs to be changed, and you can go to it and change the start time, end time, and it doesn't touch any of the other scenes. I've been there, and it's just the worst. An absolute nightmare, because every adjustment you make to a film score affects everything else you do. And that's why even right now, you can kind of see in my session how I'm having to adjust things. That's why I always put 1 bar free with the time signature change, with the tempo change. That way it gives me a tiny bit of space to move things if I need to, without screwing up everything before it and after it. Because if I need to go back and make a change to this track back here, I need to make sure that all of the parameters are in place, that it's not going to just decimate all of my work. Anyway, moving on. All right, cool. Something else I want to bring up. This will take a second, but it's worth it. I want to go to the brief I got, because this will be very, very helpful for us. So one of the inspirations for this track is from the Clock Tower and Castlevania games. So if you know those, it's very medieval looking. It's kind of old Super Nintendo vibe, kind of a steampunk flair. And they gave me 2 reference tracks that these are gold.
Quality time feels.
Oh, let's listen to an ad.
It's like a distant.
I'm going to skip it real quick. So YouTube links. So one of them was from Dead Cells. The other one is from Castlevania. So let's just take a tiny quick listen to these reference tracks. Let me blow them up so we can hear and see what's going on. All right, so we'll listen to the second track, which is from Castlevania, which is this one here. All right, so my question for you, as we switch back over here, what do you hear from that? What are your takeaways from those 2 tracks? Because they're quite different. What would you do as a composer to acknowledge both of these styles and then do something that is still uniquely yours but really fits into that vibe? So what I hear, and maybe I just need to start a new track, to be totally honest. I'm not sure yet. What I hear is a 4/4 rock beat. I hear a lot of diminished chords. So with my piano, like this. All right, I hear a lot of diminished 7 chords. I hear a thumping bass, and I hear a melody that's pretty stagnant. It moves a little bit, but only like 3 notes. So if that's the vibe they're going for, and it's at the BPM of a clock, then I'd say that we might just want to start something new. That sounds like a good idea to me. Because I'm going to be honest, I didn't originally write this track for the Mystic Workshop, and so it feels a little off-putting to me. So I don't know. I feel like let's just scrap it. Not like completely erase that. I'm actually going to just call this Demo 1 because it doesn't fit, and I don't want to get rejected. And I mean, this is my video from last week, right? It's let's do it right. Let's do this thing right. So in order to do this right, I'm going to call this Mystic Workshop V2, version 2. Drag it up to my track. And then it sounds like we need an intro, some kind of beat. We need to put it at a time signature of 4/4. And the tempo needs to be pretty quick. The tempo bar over here, we can actually put exactly where it's going to go. So this is 4:53. Let's try 120 because that's a clock, right? Dun, dun, dun. That's actually too fast. Dun, 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 lim, ba-dum, 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 bum, 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 boom, ba-dum, ba-dum, ba-dum. Yeah, well said, Mikey in the audience. He says, I just follow the Castlevania one. A lot of times devs don't know what they want, but I do think in this case they really do. That's kind of where I'm going here. It's clearly they want something that's clocky and mystical, so it's going to have some diminished chords and stuff. Let's get... this is a sample set that Peter made. He's more of a rocker than me. But he created a sample that kind of gives the Secret of Mana vibes, which we both love and are super inspired by. That's kind of the beat that I'm feeling here. A little boppy. But I think adding a hi-hat and another track will be good. So here we go. Cool. So let's take that little beat. Let's put everything into 8th notes. Those are actually 16th notes. Boom. Let's drag them into place and quantize. That made it really straight rock. Oh, you can't hear what's playing right now? That's not good. Oh no, when did that stop? Has that been stopped for a long time? I sure hope not. That sucks. All right, so I'm gonna take this material. Let's do 16th triplet. There it is. That's going to be good. And I specifically like using a different kick for this. I like using an absinthe kick, which I've sampled. I love that snare, the Secret of Mana type snare. Here, put them together. Gotta change the octave. Something's off. Let's get it. Cool. And I want to make sure. Cool. I might want to keep it straight. Like that, eighth note delays. Sometimes, I actually learned this from Jacob Collier and all his crazy rhythmic stuff. He teaches that if you want rhythmic intensity and something to be interesting, which I currently have going on with the kick and snare, then you got to keep everything else simple and on the beat. Otherwise, you have no reference, right? It's a point of reference. See how much better that feels? Love it. So we really got to channel the right vibe. So I really want to get some diminished chords. Not necessarily wacky, but probably some delay piano. Zelda Link's Awakening, anybody? That's terrible, but you get the idea. Some crunchy chords. I can get by that. As long as you make a groove, you could really play any note you want. It's all about rhythm here. I don't want to get too crunchy, but I like that. It's not over the top, but it's still an inversion of a diminished chord. Let's try it. is gonna be a bass song. Peter's gonna pee his pants writing this one, or helping to write this one. He's my bass guy. I can write a decent bass line, but he's just like. What are we even doing today? Something like that, right? Going to Jazztown today. I like that. Why the heck not? Be weird. I guess those are all 16th note triplets, right? Maybe not. Cool. Let's just leave it like that for now. Getting weirder by the second. You gotta have a weird track. There's a lot of like singable, super melodic ones in this. Like the middle octave. Sure, let's roll with that. Hey, what's up, Jessica? To the chat. Welcome to the weirdest stream of all time. I do want this to land. Dun, bum, Boom. Let's do like a little jazz. Bum, bum. Bum, bum. I like it. We just need to turn off the sustain. Get this under control. Yeah. That's going to be a big part of the ambiance here. Let's get in this choir pad. I'm going to do some diminished chords. Just kind of let them float. Kind of give it a ghostly vibe. They say Castlevania. Nice. Might want to try that one or two notes off. It's supposed to be super unsettling. Yeah, good point, guys. Robin says, and I guess we're talking about the shepherd chord, the shepherd tone. Yeah, that actually is a way to do the shepherd, is to take a chord, like a diminished chord, that has no beginning or end, and just to keep morphing it to where you're like, your ear is constantly trying, but you're using so much chromaticism that just like, it's so unsettling. You can't do it forever. You really can't do it forever, but if you do it for like 4 bars, 8 bars, I guess in this case, 8, it makes this moment right here, this 466 moment, a little bit more interesting. So we'll call that B. Something like that. It's like more melodic, right? Yeah, like that. So that guy, let's move him over. Ba-da-bow. Ba-da-down. I'm gonna keep that triplet feel going. That would sound really cool. I'll probably take that cello and put it down an octave, turn it down a little bit, and then take my flute and double it. Hey, what's up, Captain Dark? Welcome to the chat. Who else? Epic Dissonance. For this one, let's do the same thing. My MIDI keyboard has a slight delay on it, input delay, so I have to usually move everything over by like 30-second note and then quantize. So that's, watch out for that if you have the same situation as me. If you have this keyboard or something similar. Good. What I'm playing there is an F minor, well, an F minor 2 chord, some crunch, and a D flat over G. Some of that medieval crunch, and that'll sound really cool. Here, and as you can see, I'm just trying to build sections. I'm not trying to fill them out yet. I just want to have sections that connect well. So let's play that in. Let's do it. Da, 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 da. I can do some melodic on top of that. The G, A flat G, which goes well with the Castlevania vibe of melodic melodies that are simple. I want to do some kind of modulation. Let's figure it out. So this be an A. I don't even know what that is anymore. A, C sharp, F, G. Theory nerds, unleash. If you know what that is, tell me, because I'd like to know. It sounds cool, right? You don't always have to know theory. It helps when you know it. Here we go. One more time. I got it this time. You can see it in action here. Ah, where are you? There we go. Bleh. Go. Some people would prefer to just type that in, but that just takes forever. That's lame. If you got the chops, use them. If not, no big deal. I would never expect another human to put that in. That's my thing. Okay, triplet, 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 lots of triplets. I mean, I thought that was pretty in time. Let's see. No. They are 16th note triplets. They're just not doing what I want them to do. Maybe like that. There we go. Not a big deal. I can always copy. I can always chop off a bar. Copy and paste it. Like that. Just make sure you're actually hitting the bar. That should work well. Here it just looks like I played too long. It's kind of funny. It's a good problem, I guess. And a couple wrong notes, not wrong notes, but timing. So for this, I'll just do the same thing, chop off the second half. Just do the first half like that. There we go. Let's get rid of that. Merge these together. We have a cool little synth line. So that kind of helps outline that section. I think that'll feel cool, especially we just get more epic with it. That kind of beats. It's a little hard to play with this awkward mapping, but that'll do. Let's get it in. So we're going kind of full rocker metal mode here. Within my palette, of course. I'm not gonna do anything crazy, but I do want this triplet, which is a 30-second. Triplets, yippee. Maybe it's not, maybe it's just a triplet. It is triplet. 16th note. Yep. Nothing too bad there. I could use some copy and pastage for these 4 bars or 8. What is this? 16 bars. 4 bar. I can't count anymore. It's an amount of bars. Really? doing here is I'm dancing around an F minor. It's a cool theory moment. Playing an F minor. You go into an E augmented. Back to the F. And then it changes to... I guess you could call that a whole tone, which kind of gives it the mystical vibe anyway, right? And it kind of gives it that false dominant, which makes us want to go back to the one, which is a D minor, but it's actually not. It's actually an F minor. So we're kind of playing around with expectations. It's very modal, as Jessica was hinting at earlier. This is definitely modal. Most video game music is, so I'm cool with that. Let's put that in. Keep it simple. I don't want to go over the top here. As if I haven't already. Gives me more room in the other instruments to do some passing tones. That kind of stuff. I don't want to do it in the strings because this is all kind of background information anyway. So I think that'll work well. Let's just slide them over. Quantize. After all that, I don't like the bass. I don't want it to go. I want it to be just in the tenor. So this thing, we're going to the... It's fine. Let's go. Yeah, that works. I can live with that. Scooching on over. Get rid of the 2 wrong notes. What's going on there? My quantizing's all over the place. There it is. Excellent. So that you could easily put just about any kind of melody on top of that. La, da, 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 da. Something simple like that. Like it so far? Maybe, kinda, sorta. Yeah, it's interesting. Add some piano delay on top. Close. I feel like gotta change one of the bass notes here. Da, da, da. I like that I'm doing a straight melody on top of the triplet feel in the bass. Not the bass, but the harmony chords. I think it's gonna come out really nice. Here I want to actually go lower in the bass. So right now we have a F. F2. Oh, that's nice. I like that. Much more lyrical. Trying to go more of like a classical route here. See if I can distill this down. So we can do a traditional C7. Cool. So now let's turn that into this. I think in order to do this, I'm gonna have to take a step back. That's a worthwhile thing to do. I think I had to go that other route to get there. I'm using all the right instruments and everything. I just really gotta feel this out. Make sure I'm doing it justice. So let's put those together. It's gonna be a cool section. It's like the main theme. It's right there in the middle of the track too, so it's gonna feel good. Okay, let's just start with piano because I feel like that's the thread anyway. My sanity, I gotta put these in my markers real quick. Hope you don't mind. I think it's gonna be worth it. And Cubase allows you to do infinite markers, which is pretty cool. So for this, let's just call it what it is. So it's an F minor 2, Ya da da da. It's technically an E augmented, so E plus. Ya da 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 da. C minor over E flat, and na na na. D minor 7, and then D flat. Yeah, we'll just call it D flat 7, major 7, and C suspended. Then G7 over B, and then C suspended. It's really C7 suspended. Cool, that'll help me pump this out real quick. Minus the wrong note at the end. Cool. So really in the bass, I want to do. Cool. I think we're really channeling some Castlevania here today. Okay, it's like carried away. Let's I want to use the piano delay. Like that. Hey, what's up? Emotional Unknown. Got it all except for the last note. Triplet trip, triplet trip, triplet trip, triplet trip. There it is. Like it? Cool. Keep playing with it. It's a cool little section. I like it. You like that? Cool, that actually works. That's way better than the original idea, don't you think? Keeps it within that harmonic minor style. But I guess they're all 16th notes. I like that addition. Just a simple little whirly piano. Lots to work with. Cool. It's just to kind of feel out where the heck we are on all this. Here we are from the top. think we're off to a really good start. The bell. Trip, trip, triplet trip. Cool. And hello, Euler. Of course, everyone else watching right now. Appreciate you watching, being a part. Dun, da, 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 da. So I'm just putting in some of this weightier kick in the bottom to fill it out. Like that. This is gonna be some Celeste vibes, actually. So time frame, I want to make sure that I have the right time frame here. So this, where it starts 12:33, so I want to make it go all the way to 14:33, which is actually way closer than it's currently scheduled. Let's put a section there. It's gonna be the 2-minute loop point. But I can take this guy and drag him back. Way less intimidating that way. Cool. So even this bit that I've already written, I mean, look how little there is left of music to write. So we introduced a new theme here. So it makes sense that we would, we already said that was a C section, right? But I'll just put it right there. That's the C section. So it only makes sense that I would continue with the exact same chord progression, because that's it's a long chord progression, but a short amount of time. So it makes a whole lot of sense to just copy and paste it over. Dum, da, da, dum. F minor, but this is going to be the some kind of connection. We'll call it a tag or something. It's going to be the part that helps connect us back, because like it's only 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. It's only 10, like 10 bars. So seems to me like that's going to repeat back to the beginning anyway. Right there. So it seems to me like the B section should probably be twice as long in order for this to fit. I won't even do the tag, that's dumb. This whole thing, if I do select all and then cut right that spot, I can actually click and drag just these items over. So we need to make space for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 bars. So I'm going to actually select all the things. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Let's move everything over right there. That way this can be an extension of the B section. Now we're kind of forced to develop that out a little bit, which is fine. So let's get that. Kind of visually see how it's all going to connect together. We have all the C stuff, and then look how quick of a... Cool. So right there is when the loop needs to happen. And so here's a situation where it makes a whole lot of sense to just change the tempo, because it's only 2 bars off. And so this moment here is currently 14:26, and we start at 12:33. So it needs to end at 14:33. So the way that we do that, so we can just go to our tempo and adjust it ever so slightly. Let's make it 2 BPM less. See if it ends on 14:33. Did I do that right? I did not do that right. I put the tempo at the wrong spot. This one, right? So what we're talking about is, ooh, gross. I have a, yeah, that's my tempo change right there. So let's make this 92 right here, 82. Okay. So I'm just playing with the tempo a little bit. I want to change it right at 4:53. Like that. 4:53.1.1.0. So all we did was move it by 2 BPM. Let's see if it works out. 14:33 is what we're aiming for. Almost. It's at 14:29. Let's go down to 88. See if that fixes it. There it is, right there. You can even go to 89. It ends exactly at 14:33. Let's see if it actually feels good to be slightly slower. Works for me. There it is. Now it's a perfect loop. how just it all fills in. It all works out. So I do want to continue. I'm going to call this section here, and we'll come to a close here in a few minutes. This will be a B prime section. So I want to kind of start squeezing in the bass, because I wrote everything still in F minor. So I can throw that line in there. Oops. Da-dum. Da-dum. That's where I would leave it back to. I like to keep my intros separate. So again, here's the end. So this is obviously a pile of garbage. It's a mess at the moment, but that's the idea and this is actually why I work with assistants, because I like to get all my ideas out, and clearly I have clearly defined sections, and the idea works and it's going to work really well. But now I can have my assistant Peter work on this and try to clean it up, get all the MIDI where it needs to go, and the chord structure is pretty clean, and it allows him a chance to also kind of work with his own bass lines and stuff like that to help fill it out. And we just go back and forth. It's a lot of fun. So yeah, I'm gonna wrap it up there for today, but this will be the Mystic Workshop. I look forward to sharing that in the game pretty soon. And tomorrow, if you want to join for a live stream again tomorrow, we're live composing for Monster Sanctuary, and then I'm going to be working on another track to be shared at that time. I don't want to spoil it, but it's another track. It's a darker track. It's going to be a ton of fun as well. Yeah, so I hope this was, I guess, informative for you. Just one of the ways that you can write music. I don't ever try to pretend like my way is the only way or the right way. It's just how I write music. And there's certainly bits and pieces that you can take and apply to your own writing, I hope. And I hope this has been fun for you. So I'll see you guys next time. I'll play out with what we have so far. It's kind of a heaping pile of garbage, but hope you can enjoy at least the ideas that are here. And it's going to be fun to get into the next version of it. So thanks for hanging out, guys, and I'll see you tomorrow. Have a good one. So here we go. Here's the work in progress Mystic Workshop version 2 for Monster Sanctuary. Enjoy.